Alright guys, welcome back to the patch. Today is June 11th and it is a rainy, overcast day. I'm going to do a quick update and show you guys what we got going on. So stay tuned. So we'll start over here at the 150 patch. We have the 1620.5 tile. This one went out over the Dietrich plant. It's the cross that I wanted to make anyways with the other squash. Hopefully I can get some male flowers that are timed out good with it. But it's come along nice. So this will be the 150 patch here. I'll be laying out the border this week so I can get some pictures and have that photographic evidence and video evidence for how I'm laying it out. It's going to be an interesting layout, but should be pretty fun. Next, we have the 563.5 tile. Again, that's the 1109 Jutras times self. It's come out of its little funk that it had earlier in the season with the budding issues and kind of a little bit of stunted growth early on, but I think that was tied up a little bit to organic matter that I had in the soil, the compost, as well as the cool temperatures we had real early in the spring. But it's doing quite nicely now. So I already checked. I had a greenie. If I have a picture, I'll put it on there. I did have a green squash baby probably this last week, and so it looks like we're good to go on having a squash. Go on to the next plant. Alright, this plant here is a 1965.5 rotoball. It's doing pretty good overall. It had stuntedness like the other one did and a little bit of a bud out. Really laid some nitrogen to it, and it seems to be pushing out some secondaries now really well. I'll be swooping those backwards, and I've had 2 round yellow females so far that I've picked off, so it looks like it should be a pretty fruit. I'm gonna pick the one off that's in the tip here, really push that main out here. It's probably about 13-14 feet right now. I'm hoping to get it out there probably closer to 20 foot, if not more, but we'll see what happens. My main priority right now is just kind of getting all these secondaries fired off and filling in some space, but overall doing okay right now. Get on to the next one. So this is the 2493 Wolf. Doing pretty good, kicking out a ton of secondary growth, and really come on probably this last week with the heat. Early on it was a little bit of a slower grower compared to some of the others, but it's grown off at the end of its fabric there. It's about 6 inches past the fabric. Fabrics are all right there between 18 and 20 feet. Again, I didn't measure them perfectly, but they're all right there around 18 and 20 feet. So I'd say this main vine is somewhere around 17 to 18 feet. I'm going to try and put the main out here towards the end of this space before I set a fruit. So we're probably about probably a week away before I'm looking at potential keepers on this particular plant. But overall, if you're growing this or thinking about growing it, don't hesitate on it. However, just kind of know that the earlier growth is a little bit slower, and then as the temperatures pick up, it really does come on. So very nice plant. Alright, this is the 1989.5 Conway. This plant has been one of my better plants. Got fantastic plant growth. Secondaries are really spreading out there, and the roots have been pretty prolific, so that's one thing that I've noticed. Very good root growth. I do have a pollination right here. That is probably going to be my keeper. It's got about, I think, 19 secondaries behind it is what I counted. But I'm going to end up probably sweeping the main that way, and then this one here, the secondary, I'll try and swoop as far backwards as I can and bring it over, and then kick my tertiary growth out. So very nice plant. Happy about the pollination date. This was a June 10th pollination. That's a 1-day old pollination there. It's a little bit wet today, so I kept a little bit of the petals on there instead of taking them all off. But I wanted to get some air to it, and then tomorrow I'll remove the rest of the petal on the flower. So get those off as soon as you can. I usually wait 24 hours. Probably going to have half it off in 24 hours and then the other half off by tomorrow, so it's got the ability to dry out. Move on to the next plant. So this is the 2195 tile. If I didn't mention, this is what I did cross that pollination on the 1989.5 Conway. And then this morning I had a 4-lober that I pollinated right there, and I pollinated it with the Conway. So I have a reverse cross of both of those now. This plant is probably getting close to 19 foot. This pollination, let me count it up real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on one side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the other. So 19 secondaries on this one as well. So very nice plant overall. All the plants you'll see is a little bit lighter at the tip. Been a little bit overcast here, and then it's going to be raining. So I might hit them with a little bit of fertilizer here between rain showers. But want to get these pollinations done on the plants. And then I'll walk over to the last plant here. You can kind of see, some people have asked as far as planting back to back, how far apart you put the stumps. I keep them about 6 feet back. You got plenty of spacing between the stumps, as well as you can kind of pitch these secondaries backwards a little bit and get yourself a little bit of room, because as you're doing your walking path, I'll probably have about a 12-inch between the leaves walking path, but they're probably about 2 to 3 feet between the actual vines themselves. And then the last plant here is the 2376 Bayuk. It's off the mat there. You can see the fabric. I keep calling it a mat, but it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Looks like 11 or 12 secondaries before the possible set there on the left side. So we're probably pretty close to the same. So 22-ish secondaries before this first pollination. And then I have another one in a tip. So this one I have decided is going to be the one that I grow with the scale. That's why you see the box and the bamboo skewers kind of propping up the main. I'm probably going to be bringing out the scale in the next probably 2 or 3 days after the pollination. Once I know that it's starting to swell a little bit, I'll try and get that vine just growing on top of the scale and over it so I can get it positioned. I'm hoping that it'll be a little bit easier to do that way, but we'll see how that works out. But I do have it propped up a little bit just so that the vine is already in a position to raise. Plant's been real great. One of the widest plants that I have. Looking pretty good overall. I did end up burying a little bit of these nodes just because I was seeing some pretty aggressive roots. I will come back here with the water hose probably in a week here or so and rinse off some of this dirt just to make sure that they've got proper airflow over them, and I'm reducing the amount or the potential for soil disease. So it's going to be rainy here today. I'm going to try and get as much weeding done as I can. Hopefully that goes well. I got some natural cover crop of weeds, mostly grass it looks like. So I'll be working on that probably in the next couple of days, just because it's a pain to do when it's that wet. It doesn't really come out and you get chunks of clods with it. So I'll be working on that over this next week to get it ready for the plant. This is also the time that I do my second round of soil amendment. So I'll have this whole area all retilled back up, and then all this area outside the plant will be re-amended, very similar to how I amended it at the beginning of the season. So that's typically how I do it. Um, I've seen it where growers amend in front of the plant in strips. I know Jeff does his that way, and that works too. Just do what works for you, but I do recommend about this time of year when your plants about 30% filling your space that you amend the back half again, because you've had rain and other things that have changed those. Or if you haven't amended, like I don't amend everything all at once at the beginning of the season. I'll do half at the beginning and then the other half at this part of the season, just so that all the nutrients are in there and I know that they're in there, and nothing has changed on me from, let's just say, March or April until now. So, all right. The next thing that I'll go over is the shade cloth. So I won't unroll it right now, but I did put up a shade cloth. It's a retractable shade cloth. It slides along these guide wires. I use the eye holes. They are 20 by 30 feet, so it's 20 feet long and 30 feet wide. And then I used, get up here on the hardware, I used a paracord to connect it kind of like to a dog leash, and then I can literally pull this over to that pole and then latch it on. So I got a walking path here that I'll have the entire year, and then there's one on the opposite side. So by the time I pull it on this side, the opposite side pulls across as well. So it's a manual way. It works. I've used it on 90-degree days already, and I had to shade the tip with a chair, which I think is great because then you get more sun exposure to the tip. You don't have to completely black it out. So really like that. Kept the temperatures down about 10 degrees. I've got some, as you can see, sensors there, and that's just the temp sensor. But when it's 105 on some of the outside soil or things like that, it was like 89 degrees on that sensor. So it was great to keep those temperatures around 10 degrees or so cooler underneath. And again, just a UV protectancy, so you don't have as much burn with that shade cloth. That's a 40% shade cloth. So I would say 30 to 40% would be ideal if you're going to use it. But the main reason I did it was to prevent loss of leaves, and B, it's retractable. I would not put that up full season. There are some growers who do it, and I'm sure that it helps as far as plant health that way. But on the cloudier days such as today where I can pull it back, they might be only getting about 20% of the UV versus right now I might be maybe getting 60% with the overcast. So if that shade cloth was up and it was blocking an additional 40% of the overcast, it'd be pretty rough photosynthesis for today. So other than that, guys, that's about it. Plants are going good overall. I'm just trying to keep them rolling. I do have to do a little bit more plant maintenance, but I'm not going to get in there today while it's raining. I'll probably stick on the perimeters and do the weeding that I need to. But it's been going good. I think that's all I got. Catch you guys on the next one.